By the mid-90s, the Super Mario series was Nintendo's biggest moneymaker, with Super Mario himself being the company's mascot. So far, the series spawned 4 main games: a racing game called Super Mario Kart, the artistic creation game Mario Paint, a prequel, Yoshi's Island, that spawned the Yoshi series, also an educational series, and the Squaresoft-developed RPG platformer Super Mario RPG. Nintendo was already a major rockstar when it came to video gaming, with Mario and Nintendo being synonymous with video gaming in general. At least it was in my house growing up. I owned and played all the Mario games up to this point, and even owned Mario Was Missing. By my 5th grade year, I played both Yoshi's Island and Super Mario RPG, and later during my summer vacation in between the 5th and 6th grades in 1996. During this time, I've also noticed 3D games were getting more and more popular, and one day I was looking through a video game magazine aisle at the store while my parents were shopping, because that's how kids then found out about new games since the internet was in its infancy. I saw an image of Mario who was 3D like in Super Mario RPG, but even more defined and in a 3D space. I had no idea what the 64 in the name meant, but I couldn't help but be excited for a new Mario game shortly after playing RPG, and realized it would launch well into my 6th grade year. A few months go by and I see a commercial not just for the new Mario game, but the new console the game is going to be on, the Nintendo 64. I was completely blown away seeing Mario and other games now in full 3D with polygons running around instead of the traditional sprites from the previous console generations. Like all the previous Nintendo consoles, I wanted it for Christmas that year, but between my dad being in between jobs and my parents being in financial hard times, they couldn't get the N64 for me right away, so instead we rented the system several times for me to play throughout 1997 and beyond. By the way, that Christmas I got Donkey Kong Country 3, my first 2 Star Trek tapes, along with the Star Trek chronology, so I was a pretty happy camper waiting on owning the new Nintendo console. When I finally played the game, I was once again blown away by the new look of Mario and the new 3D environments, and hence, Super Mario 64 added a whole new dimension to my game playing life and defined the 3D platformer. Before we go into the gameplay and the levels, let us once again go back in time to see how Nintendo reinvented Super Mario in 3 dimensions. The concept of the 3D Super Mario game started in the head of Super Mario and Zelda producer Shigeru Miyamoto during the development of the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. Star Fox used the Super FX graphics chip for enhanced processing power, hence Mr. Miyamoto envisioned an entire world in miniature, known as the Super Mario FX project. The project was moved from the Super NES to the Nintendo 64 because of the new controller having greater button count and the joystick for 3D movement. Fun side note, while Star Fox was unveiled at the Consumer Electronics Show in 1993, a 3D animation of Mario's head by Giles Goddard was showcased at the Nintendo booth, perhaps explaining why a similar feature appears in the Super Mario 64's start screen. The development itself for this new 3D game began in late 1994, and the first work that was done was developing the virtual camera system for the 3D world and the character models. Various ideas were considered, including using fixed paths in an isometric viewpoint equivalent to Super Mario RPG, but they ultimately went with the free roaming 3D design. In other words, open environments to use as the player's own sandbox, if you will. The graphics for the game was created using N-World, a Silicon graphics toolkit. A hurdle the designers had to face was for how Mario was to jump in 3D, since there was no reference available for them to use. Jumping was less quantitative and more intuitive, hence the developers tested by trial and error with each other, according to Yoshiaki Koizumi in a Washington Post interview. 3D Mario was defined with a skeleton used with his center of gravity around his hips, acting as a joint which controls the way his body moves, equivalent to how Arail-chan moves from the Toriyama anime Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball. The worlds were created with the mindset of going into an interesting world and learning and doing everything you can possibly do in that world, hence less foes, but people in between, neither friend nor foe, that would drive missions in each world. The worlds were built without any models or blueprints, but implementing various dioramas of ideas as they went, no matter how weird they could be. This was the last Mario game where Koji Kondo did the entire soundtrack, reusing the classic original Super Mario Bros. Theme and once again another variation of the original Underworld theme along with the other classics. Yoji Inagaki created roughly 500 new sound effects for the game, and for the first time ever, which took me a while to get used to, Super Mario was voiced by Charles Martinet, a character actor who appeared in many small film roles. and Leslie Swan, the Nintendo Power senior editor and English localizer playing Princess Toadstool. A prototype was unveiled at Nintendo Space World Trade Show in Japan in late 1995, along with the Nintendo 64 itself. The prototype was met with praise from fans and journalists alike, and its later presentation at E3 1996 was met with even more anticipation after consumers got to play a more refined version of the game. Super Mario 64 ended up launching alongside the Nintendo 64 the following month after E3 in Japan, and later in September in North America. It was met with acclaim from fans and journalists alike. Let us dig into Super Mario 64, and if you haven't played the game, there will be spoilers, so go play the game if you haven't. Is this game truly the defining 3D platformer everyone says it is? The moment you turn on Super Mario 64, you get a greeting from Mario himself. Mario's head shows up, you can play with it to kill some time. Select the file you want and let's begin. Super Mario 64. The game begins with a letter from Princess Toadstool asking Mario to come to her castle since she's baked a lovely cake for him. She signs her name, Peach. When I first played this, I honestly thought Peach was the flavor of cake she baked for him, only to realize in later games, notably Mario Kart 64, that the princess was no longer referred to as Princess Toadstool, but now as Princess Peach for some reason. I did not find out for many years that Princess Peach was her original Japanese name. We see an awesome cutscene of a Lakitu acting as a cameraman flying across the Mushroom Castle's campus. And then shifts to Lakitu's perspective as a pipe emerges from the ground, with Super Mario himself springing forth into view into full 3D glory. As Mario moves, the camera can be from Lakitu's point of view, further away, or from Mario's point of view, up right behind him. I find the Mario camera mode too difficult to play, so I rarely ever use it myself. Mario has got a lot of new moves in his inaugural 3D adventure. Mario's movement is controlled through the Nintendo 64's joystick, with A traditionally being the jump button and B as the attack button. In this case, Mario punches any punk Goombas or any other enemies that come his way. We get some new abilities including the long jump, which requires Mario runs in any direction, you press Z to crouch and then A to jump. Another new ability is to do a somersault by pressing Z to crouch and then A to jump while standing still. A returning ability that was established by Yoshi in Yoshi's Island is the ground pound. Simply press A to jump and then Z in midair to perform it. Sideways somersaults can be performed by running, quickly turning around while pressing A, which allows for evasion of an enemy charging at you. You can do a double jump if you jump in a timed sequence, whether standing still or moving. While a triple jump can be done in a timed sequence of 3, but only when Mario is running, which will allow players to get to hard-to-reach surfaces. Mario can also use wall jumps when Mario jumps and starts sliding down the wall to kick off, and it can be repeated if there are two walls close to each other to once again reach really high places that even a triple jump can't reach. Mario can also swim underwater by simply pressing A to do a breaststroke movement and B to do a paddling movement. But watch out, this time Mario has only a limited time he can be underwater, unlike the previous 2D games, and will lose health with each passing moment, so return to the surface to replenish health regardless of damage, so use it to your advantage. Practice these movements outside the castle to master them before entering, since this is probably the very first 3D platformer ever, and most of us 2D Mario veterans will probably need the practice. I most certainly did, especially when it comes to mastering depth perception, which I still haven't done to this day, believe it or not. Let's enter the castle so we can have a delicious piece of Peach's cake. As Mario enters the castle, it is strangely silent, but all of a sudden, he hears a roar from a familiar arch-enemy. Bowser is at it again, but this time it abducts the princess in her own castle. Mario comes across a toad near the door and explains to Mario that Koopa has stolen the Power Stars in order to create a world in his own image within the walls, while the princess and everyone else is trapped inside the castle somewhere. Mario is tasked with retrieving the Power Stars so he can access the rest of the castle, since Bowser sealed them off, and he also locked access to the upper floors and the basement. The only room that Bowser has not sealed is the room with the giant painting of a Bob-omb. Mario goes into this room, sees waves across the painting, and decides to jump in. Hence, Mario starts his first course, Bob-omb Battlefield. Bob-omb Battlefield and every other course will have 6 missions, with the end result always being the retrieval of a Power Star. Some missions are used in every course, like collecting all 8 red coins. Red coins was a reused concept from Yoshi's Island, but in this case, red coins are worth 2 golden coins and are scattered in different parts of each course. The same goes for collecting 100 golden coins in each course, but is outside the 6 main missions of each level. Look high and low and don't leave any stone unturned when searching, and keep an eye out for blue coin blocks. Ground pound them to have blue coins appear, but be wary of the timer or else they will disappear. Blue coins are worth 5 golden coins, so keep that in mind as you search the courses for them. Bob-omb Battlefield is made up of a high mountain with flat territories of the warring Bob-ombs, the enemy black ones, and the pink Bob-omb buddies. The first mission in Bob-omb Battlefield is called Big Bob-omb on the Summit. Mario needs to make his way to the top of the mountain to confront the King Bob-omb, and in order to get there he needs to avoid being targeted by water bombs, avoid rolling steel boulders, and enemy Bob-ombs and Goombas themselves. Confront the Bob-omb King on the top and run around behind him to pick him up and throw him 3 times to beat him. I always enjoy throwing the king off his mountain for my amusement, but it doesn't count as a hit. After you beat him, you receive your first Power Star. With that first star, you can continue either going to the subsequent missions in this stage, or you can go to other stages or to other doors that will allow you to unlock the 1 star. So other subsequent missions will include a giant, racing a giant Koopa called Koopa the Quick to the top of the mountain where you fought the King Bob-omb. Koopa the Quick is an example of a non-playable character who is not an enemy but inhabits the worlds of Mario 64, giving the game an additional dimension or depth besides the 3D space. You also meet the friendly pink Bob-omb buddies who will also give you access to the cannons in each course that will blast you to difficult to reach areas, like let's say a floating island for example. Getting to the floating island is another mission which houses its own Power Star. The floating island also has its own cannon, and it will allow you to complete the star mission, Mario Wings to the Sky, but only if you find the red switch course. That unlocks the wing cap ability, allowing Mario to fly. To access the course, you need to collect at least 12 Power Stars and notice a light beam shining on the first floor of the castle. Look up at the light to access the course. Besides smashing the giant red switch, there is also a Power Star attainable by collecting all the red coins with the wing cap. The final Power Star in Bob-omb Battlefield involves a giant chain chomp that guards a Power Star behind the bars. Just ground pound the stake that the chomp is attached to and the chomp will open up the way to the Power Star. The Nintendo staff implemented some wacky but fun ideas for this first course that they worked on. Will the remaining courses be the same? After you get that first star from beating King Bob-omb, the player gets to choose whether to continue playing the same course or to explore more of the castle to see what else can be accessed with that 1 Power Star. There are 2 doors with a 1 inscribed on a star. One is in the mezzanine in what appears to be the princess's room, and the other one is on the lower portion that has a giant painting of a Womp fortress. The princess's room has 3 stained glass windows of the princess herself. Mario needs to jump into the one on his right to access one of the castle's secret stars. Mario lands in the princess's secret slide and slides all the way down, carefully turning to make sure he stays on the slide and doesn't accidentally fall off. If you get to the goal quick enough, you can earn a second secret star. I always thought the slide courses were a lot of fun and even annoying at times, especially when you need to race the giant penguin in the cabin in Cool Cool Mountain. The theme for the slide, which is iconic in my opinion, was a variation of the Bob-omb Battlefield and Cool Cool Mountains theme with a western vibe with the use of harmonica, banjo, and whistle. The theme would be reused for anything that had racing or a time limit just to get the blood pumping and the excitement going. The Womp's Fortress is a tall stone fortress in the sky that is home to the Womps that will take every opportunity to crush you if you get near them. You also deal with retracting platforms, floating twomps that will try to crush you as well, and the sleeping piranha plants with their own lullaby theme. The first Power Star is equivalent to the Bob-omb stage, where you have to make your way up to the top to fight the King Whomp. In order to defeat him, you need to dodge his crush dive and then jump on his back and ground pound where the bandage is. Repeat this 3 times like a standard Mario boss fights to defeat him to retrieve the Power Star. Other challenges this time include climbing to the top of the fortress and going up the new tower where the King Whomp was, access hard to reach places with the cannon, and even break something to reveal a hidden star. A owl or a hoot hidden in a tree will fly you and drop you into a floating cage with a star. Be careful or you can fall off and lose a life, with Mario screaming in terror, and that used to make me laugh every time. If you manage to obtain 3 stars, you can access the last 2 levels: Jolly Roger Bay and Cool Cool Mountain. Jolly Roger Bay is the first course in the game that allows Mario to swim underwater, so keep in mind his health meter when diving down. First star objective is to plunder in the sunken ship, so dive all the way down to the ship at the bottom of the bay and swim close enough to the opening to see the face of Unagi, the eel, in his Mario debut. Swim back up to the surface, catch your breath, and dive back down to see the eel out and about, giving us the chance to enter the ship. Once entered, we play a little game with the 4 treasure chests, opening the correct ones in the correct order to lower the water level so Mario doesn't drown. Like Sonic in the 2D Genesis games, Mario can replenish oxygen if he catches and eats a bubble. Climb to the top to retrieve the star. The sunken ship is now floating above the bay surface with red coins on it. Other missions include luring the eel out of its alcove to snatch a star connected to its tail, going into the ocean cave to play another treasure chest game while avoiding traps, cannon blast to a high location, and getting through the jet stream. The jet stream will have to come later when Mario retrieves the metal cap from the green switch course. A great course overall, with the relaxing Dire Dire Docks theme in the background, makes for a new yet unique course, and the first course with Mario swimming and diving in 3 dimensions. There is also a secret underwater level in the same room as the painting in one of the upper recesses. This stage is entirely underwater and requires you swim effectively to retrieve all 8 red coins. Mario's movement was based on Mr. Miyamoto taking up swimming at that time, especially the breaststroke movements, hence a fit, trim, and exciting course to play. Cool Cool Mountain takes place on a snowy mountain, with missions including Slip Sliding Away, where Mario goes into a cottage and uses the slide to slide down to the bottom of the mountain, but this time is more dangerous than the Princess's Slide, with more opportunities to fall. A later mission, like I stated before, will have Mario race a giant penguin down that same slide, which can be tricky, but doable. One other mission is to take a baby penguin and return it to the mother on the bottom of the mountain. One time I did the unthinkable. I dropped the baby off the mountain once. And another thing I did was try to kidnap the baby after returning it to his mother, and with the mother getting angry and chasing me. I feel bad thinking about it, but that was part of my initial experience. Other missions include the usual 8 red coins hunt along the mountain, one where you have a snowman's body chase you to reunite with its head, and another one where you need to wall jump to access the final star. A fun yet slippery course with some very vibrant and uplifting snow and ice themes, the first of 2. These last 2 courses had no bosses in it, but if you manage to retrieve a total of 8 stars, you can access the door with a giant power star on it to access a room with Princess Toadstool painting. Run towards it for it to shift to a Bowser portrait as Mario falls through a trap door. Mario lands in the first of many layers that Bowser occupies, the Dark World. The path to Bowser is pretty linear, but there are plenty of obstacles including flamethrowers, moving platforms, amps, seesaws, and tricky stairs you need to press a switch to access. One Power Star mission in this stage, and all the other Bowser stages to come, will include collecting the 8 red coins scattered throughout the lair, some in places you never think to look. Once you make it to the top, go into the warp pipe. Mario will land on Bowser's platform, a floating disc surrounded by floating spike mines. To beat Bowser, you need to run around him and grab his tail with the B button and rotate the joystick to spin Bowser, and then press B to release him. Make sure you time it right so he hits the mine, because if he misses and falls, he will simply leap all the way back up onto the platform and you will need to try again. When you succeed and Bowser hits the mine, he will leave behind a key and retreat further into the castle. Grab the key to end the stage. Mario now has access to more of the castle, so you as the player can either continue to complete the stages on the first floor or go and explore the courtyard in the castle basement. We will start with the castle courtyard. If you have 12 power stars, there will now be boos floating all over the yard. One is housing a small cage, so defeat that one and Mario will shrink and jump in the cage. Mario lands in Big Boo's Haunt, a course that consists of a giant haunted ghost house or boo house, with an elevator house accessing the lower levels. The first Power Star objective is to defeat all the boos in the first floor of the mansion, and then a big boo in the foyer to access the second floor. Other stars obtained including defeating the boos on the merry-go-round under the mansion, exploring the secret of the library, but watch out for bookends, those floating books that try to eat you. Also, fighting Big Boo on the balcony was a pain to get to because of the primitive wall jump controls and the primitive camera. Getting to the star on the very top of the mansion was also a pain too. The last star will require Mario to find the blue switch course and hit the blue switch to access the invisible cap so he can now pass through certain walls. Mario will need to fight the giant eye by running around it to make it spin out of control. Other than the usual 100 coins and 8 red coins, which leads you to a scary room with a mad piano that will try to chomp at you, that concludes the haunted course, and now we can take Mario to the castle basement. The castle basement is interesting as it is different than the first area because all the levels are accessible, except for the next Bowser area, which will require 30 power stars this time. Painting of a menacing fireball is in the deeper corridor, and also along the corridor is a wall that reacts to your contact like a painting. Explore the corridor further to find a room that has a black pool instead of a painting. Jump in that pool to enter the Hazy Maze Cave. The Hazy Maze Cave is an underground cave level with another variation of the original classic Underworld theme. Mario explores the caves by going one of two directions. One objective involves finding an underground lake with the sea dragon Dory floating about. Take control to be guided to an island with the first Power Star. The 8 red coins are in the upper elevator area, so get up there and navigate by controlling a moving platform in 4 directions. The green switch course is located in this level that unlocks the metal Mario cap, which allows Mario to walk underwater. To get there, Mario needs to return to the underground lake and steer Dory towards an upper platform with double doors. Go inside and jump in the pool to enter the metal cap switch course. Press the green switch and get the red coins underwater to get the star to properly exit the course without being swept outside the castle waterfall. Go back to the underground lake with the metal Mario ability to run underwater and press the switch to open the gate and retrieve the star in the abandoned mine after long jumping twice. Another star is in the toxic maze near the elevator area. Drop into the maze covered with toxic clouds, so get the metal cap and avoid the snuffits as best you can. Find the second ledge with a door further recess in and follow the path to the elevator to the room with the star. Go back to the toxic room and take the first ledge this time, leading to a large room with a wire net. Grab hold of it like a monkey bar and navigate to the platform with the star. The final star is in the same room with the wire net and the giant rolling boulders, but this time you need to wall jump to the upper ledge by the door that leads to the underground lake elevator. Get the star to complete this course. Let's check out that fiery painting in the castle basement, Lethal Lava Land. Lethal Lava Land is the lava course of this game with a massive sea of lava and many platforms to navigate it. The first star involves navigating to an island where the big bully inhabits in his Super Mario debut. He will try to knock you off the island, so you need to time when you can punch him away from you, knocking him off the island to beat him and retrieve the star. A similar star mission later in the level has you go to another island to fight multiple bullies, and then the big bully returns for some much needed payback. Beat them all for another star. The 8 red coin mission for this stage takes place on a moving puzzle platformers that make up the image of Bowser, so be careful and anticipate which platforms will move in what direction. Another star requires you to navigate towards a giant log and roll it over to a ledge, and then follow the path to get the star. The last 2 are located inside a volcano, so make your way to it and enter from the top. You will land on a cooled surface. You can either climb the forward path encountering bullies, booby traps, floating platforms to reach the star above. The other star in the volcano requires you to go the opposite direction as before, jumping over lava to get to a lift. The lift will move along a rail, so Mario has to jump from lift to lift. Climb a pole, dodge a firebar, and navigate to the final star of this course. Explore the basement further to find a room with 2 pillars. Ground pound the pillars to drain the water from the moat outside the castle. Jump into a hole to access the blue switch course. The course begins with Mario landing on a slide, so be mindful of platforms that have red coins on them. Follow the path up, get onto a seesaw, and then hop onto a lift, but be mindful that the lift will flip, so hop off before then. Stomp the blue switch and retrieve the star. The heat hasn't ended for Mario as he makes his way to the next course, Shifting Sand Land. Shifting Sand Land entrance is located to the left of the Lethal Lava Land painting, a dead end with a wall that Mario can hop into. The Shifting Sand Land is a desert level that has rivers of quicksand and a great pyramid in the center of 4 pillars. Mario lands near a stone structure with the wing cap on the top. For the first star, make your way to the pillars to confront Klepto, the Condor, flying between the pillars. Wait for him to approach and hit him to release the star. Make sure Klepto doesn't take your cap in revenge, because you get higher damage from enemies without the iconic cap. Other star missions here include scaling the outside of the pyramid, the usual red coins but with flying, so make sure the wing cap is available. Go inside the pyramid and make your way to the very top, avoiding Goombas, Grindles, and Amps. Also inside the pyramid is a puzzle requiring Mario to find the 5 secrets throughout the interior. Last mission is to stand tall on the 4 pillars where Mario needs to fly and land on each of them surrounding the pyramid. That will cause the tip top of the pyramid to explode, creating an opening to the pyramid from the top. Fly to the top and enter the pyramid to encounter the boss Rock, a pair of stone hands with an eye in the center of each. To beat Rock, you need to wait until the palm opens up to punch the eye on each 3 times. Makes me think of another boss from another game. By this time, Mario should have 30 stars already, so let's go to the red star door in the basement and see what awaits. Mario enters the corridor and sees a translucent barrier ahead. Mario enters it and we end up in Dire Docks. A water world like Jolly Roger Bay, but this time divided into 2 areas, a reef connected to a hidden base for submarines. Mario's first objective is to make his way to the base and board the submarine to get the star. It's Bowser's submarine and it will take him to the next Bowser area, Bowser in the Fire Sea. Like Lethal Lava Land, Bowser in the Fire Sea is a lava land with a linear layout of platforms and ledges for Mario to navigate to the top. It includes a moving platform that can go under the lava, so get on the neighboring ledges or Mario will get burned, and I've gotten burned a lot. Any alternative paths may lead to some red coins for another secret star. Keep pressing forward, climbing poles, running along paths that tilt due to Mario's weight, taking elevators to the upper level from a cage, encountering platforms that shift in elevation, run across a series of blue platforms that constantly go under the lava, another series of pole elevators that will lead you to a falling bridge, and jump into a large funnel-like warp pipe spring thingy to get to Bowser. The second fight with Bowser is mostly the same as the first fight, but at this time Bowser will jump, causing the stage to tilt towards him, causing Mario to slide off if you're not careful. Swing Bowser towards a floating mine once more to beat him and get the big key, this time for the upper part of the castle. Before we explore the upper parts of the castle, let's see if there is anything left to do in the basement. Talk to any toads and see if they have any power stars to give away. Another pair of hidden stars are obtained by chasing the yellow rabbit, also known as MIPS, which is short for Microprocessor Without Interlocked Pipeline Stages, the instruction set used for the Nintendo 64. He was used early in N64 test simulations and was the first character created for this game. The development team liked him so much that they included him in the final game. You can chase MIPS in the basement after you have obtained 15 and 50 power stars respectively, and were such a pain to catch that I ended up hating that rabbit when these were over. Let's go back to Dire Docks and retrieve the stars there. There are 5 remaining stars in the second water area. The second star is located in the first area where you need to swim all the way to the bottom surface to open the treasure chest in the correct order. Beware the whirlpool in the center though, because if you get sucked in, you lose a life. I would know since I died a ton doing this. The next star requires you to swim to the submarine area. The submarine itself is long gone. but in the upper area you see moving poles and 8 floating red coins. Hence, the only way up there is to hit the switch on the boardwalk and climb the blocks to the upper platform and obtain them to get the power star. The next 2 stars require you to swim through bubble rings, one from a jet stream in the submarine area and one from a manta ray in the first area. The jet stream star will require the metal cap to obtain, and the manta ray star will be on top of the whirlpool, so once again, don't get sucked in. The last star is in the submarine area, behind a cage underwater. To obtain it, you need to put on the invisibility cap and the metal cap and long jump into the water to minimize the distance between where Mario lands and the cage. Swimming with just the invisibility cap alone can be done, but it is very tricky to do, so try it if you have the patience. Another great course completed. Let's go upstairs and begin exploring the upper levels of the castle. The second floor has 2 paintings and 2 rooms to enter, as well as a staircase that leads to another large star door accessing the 3rd floor that requires 50 stars to enter. Let's begin by going inside a large mirror room where you can see a reflection of the room. There is a painting in the reflection that is not in the room, so jump in that invisible paint to access the second snow-themed course, Snowman's Land. The first star to obtain requires Mario scaling this giant snowman mound to access the star on the top of its head. Cross the freezing pond, avoid sliding slopes, go up the mound until you get to an ice bridge. The snowman will blow anyone off the bridge except for a large penguin. You need to follow the penguin's movements so you don't get blown off, and then you get up to the top and retrieve the star. Other stars in this include confronting and beating up the chill bully on his turf or platform, navigate inside a translucent 3D ice maze structure, another where you need to jump on a spin drift in the freezing pond to spin high in the air and reach the ledge. One block has a star and the other block has a shiny shell to ride. That way you can catch the 8 red coins. The last star, and probably the coolest one, is inside the igloo. Like the pyramid, the volcano, the pirate ship, and the previous courses, I love levels within levels. It gives these courses a lot more depth, and shows the extra effort of the development team to flesh out the courses further. It turns out to be another puzzle maze where you need to figure out how to obtain the star behind ice. A vanish cap may do. Let's get back to the second floor quarter and enter the painting with the skeeter on it. Wet Dry World is a very unique course in this game. It is another water level, but with a twist. You can change the water levels in this course, spinning a crystal tap, and the secret to how high you want the water level to be depends on how high Mario is when he enters the painting. Food for thought, especially when you need to gain access to the downtown area. The first few stars are in the uptown area where you begin. One where you need the water about mid-level so you can access a ledge that leads to traversing arrow lifts to get to the yellow block that houses the star. Another star requires you get to the top of the course by either changing the water level or using triple jumps and heave hos to get up there. But make sure the heave hos are facing the proper direction or things might not go well for Mario. Another star requires Mario to find the 5 secrets of Uptown, so don't leave no yellow blocks unturned. One tricky star here is to get in the elevator shaft. You need to lower the water level all the way down, break the block obstructing the shaft. Get to the top of the shaft and land on the elevator panel, lowering it. Get inside the shaft and jump on the inner elevator panel before it goes back to the top, and voila! The last 2 stars are downtown, so you need to have the water level at its highest to jump over the cage and swim down the passage to downtown. You will see a town with 8 red coins scattered throughout. The other star is located behind the cage, so get an invisibility cap and run to pass the cage. Wall jump to get to the platform the star is on. Enough with the water levels, let's take a hike up a mountain course this time. The next course should be in the second floor corridor as a small painting of a mountain with tall mushroom. Tall Mountain. This course begins with Mario at the base of the mountain near a small pond. Mario's first objective is to scale the mountain. Watch out for Bob-ombs, the purple Chuckyas, Monty Moles, etc. Get to the top running past the cloud whoosh before it could blow you away, and then baby crawl on the narrow bridge by the waterfall. The star is on the top. Other stars in this course include the usual red coins on the scary shrooms and other areas. Go back to the top to catch the Ukiki monkey and will jump on the floating cage, causing it to fall, breaking and releasing the power star at the mountain's base. Another star requires you press the switch to make platforms appear near the waterfall to get the star in the alcove behind it. One star requires you to find a way to get on top of a giant mushroom by ways of a cannon. The Bomb Buddy should be located after the bridge below the gap. The cannon itself can be accessed by going to the mushroom platforms before the Monty Moles, jumping on the smallest one to teleport to the lower ledge that leads to the cannon. Aim slightly above the star to obtain it. The last but not least is a secret slide that is located inside the mountain via a secret portal right next to where the whoosh is. The slide is tough, so be careful not to fall off. Get through it to land outside and retrieve the star. Let's go to the last course on the second floor in the room with the 3 panes, one large and one far away and one tiny and close. Tiny Huge Island, as you have seen, is a play on World 4 in Super Mario Bros. 3 where you can alternate between Giant World to Normal, or in Mario 64's case, Tiny World. You can choose to enter the Tiny pane to go to Tiny Island, or the Giant pane to go to Giant Island. The layouts are the same but require different strategies, like Mario cannot fit through a tiny door in Tiny Island. The first star requires Mario to get to the platform on Huge Island that houses the giant piranha flowers. Defeat all 5 for the star. Other stars include scaling the Huge Island, but watch out for the giant fish Bubba who will eat you if you swim near him. You will also re-encounter Koopa the Quick and race him on Huge Island to the top just like before. On Tiny Island, there are 5 itty-bitty secrets scattered throughout, so keep your eyes peeled for them all. You collect the usual 8 red coins, but this time inside Wiggler's cave on platforms below Wiggler himself. The last star you need to face off against Wiggler, but how do you get to him? Well, you need to go to Tiny Island first and get to the top with a tiny hole and some water. Ground pound it to drain it and then proceed to Huge Island where the giant pond is also drained and you can fall in that hole. Wiggler is not happy about what you did and will attack you. Jump on him the usual 3 times to defeat him. At this point, we have more than enough stars to proceed to the 3rd floor. What dangers will await Mario in this final portion of the game? Mario arrives on the 3rd floor with his 50 stars to access the final area. If you keep going further up the stairs, you will find another red star demanding 70 stars to access the top floor. You can enter, but the stairway will keep going and going and going, never ending. So let's go back. There is a giant grandfather clock in the room. If you go through the face of the grandfather clock, you can enter the stage. Be aware of where the hands on the clock are when Mario enters the course because it could affect the nature of the level. For instance, at 12, everything is stopped. At 3, everything is slow. At 6, everything moves at random. At 9, everything is fast. Let's enter the Tick-Tock course. The first mission in Tick-Tock course is to have Mario climb up the clockworks dodging pendulums, running on conveyors, jumping on rotating blocks and spinning platforms. Watch out for moving bars that will try to knock you off the platform. The stars in the cage. Other missions include stopping time by entering at 12 to get the red coins of what would be rotating platforms, going further up to reach narrow paths and pendulums. Another mission, which works if the clockworks are moving, is to jump up on the extending hand as it rotates to the star in the wall recess. Another mission requires getting to the very top of the course that leads to another rotating hand that guides you to a twomp that will carry you to the star. The last mission requires timing of jumps over moving bars to reach a power star in a cage. Let's see what's left on the 3rd floor. There is a secret area left of the clock on the ledge through a hole. The area is known as Wing Mario over the rainbows and consists of clouds with rainbows connecting them, telling the player where the red coins are. Either fly or use a cannon to reach each platform to collect the coins and be sure not to fall, because if you do, you'll be dropped into the lake outside the castle. The final course in this game is Rainbow Ride, located in the ledge alcove to the right of the Tick-Tock clock. This level is huge, and to traverse this course you need to ride on magic carpets along rainbow rails full of dangers, including flamethrowers, amps, and perhaps falling off. The first mission is to take the carpet up the course to the floating rainbow cruiser, with the star on the bow of the ship. Watch out for wind gusts though. Other missions include taking another carpet ride inside a floating house twice. Watch out for the flamethrower in the middle of the house. The star is on the roof. Other missions include red coins amassed in a maze, swinging in the breeze using swinging platforms to reach one, and tricky triangles are in the same area but continue along the donut blocks to reach the switch that make the triangles flat in a limited time to reach the star. Alright, we are ready to confront Bowser in the final level. Use star magic to open the door and go up the stairs towards the Bowser painting and drop into the hole. We are now in Bowser in the Sky. Same as usual, follow the linear path of platforms including tilting paths, steep inclines, spinning platforms, teeter-totters, and Ferris wheels. Keep your eyes peeled for the last secret star by getting the usual 8 red coins. Take the moving platform across a series of obstructions. Climb the pole on the spinning platform and follow the path to a couple of Ferris wheels and then the area leading to a warp pipe. Beware the wind. Get the final star and drop into the warp pipe. Now we confront the final boss. Bowser is at his full power here with an organ-dominated final boss theme. Bowser will shoot fire in the air, raining fire down on you. Watch out for the blue flames that will creep up on you. You need to do the same and throw Bowser at the floating mines. He will shake the platform until it is a star shape after you do twice damage. Bowser will jump back and land, causing damaging shockwaves. Throw him at the mine a third time to end the battle. Bowser will retreat and give Mario the Jumbo Star. Take the star and fly away. Mario will land at the castle grounds. Princess Toadstool, or Peach, will appear outside her stained glass window and glide gently down.
The stars is restored to the castle. And it's all thanks to you. Thank you, Mario. We have to do something special for you.
Here we go!
Listen, everybody. Let's bake a delicious cake for Mario.
And they go inside the castle as she bakes him that peach cake she promised in the beginning. That, my friends, concludes Super Mario 64, the world's first 3D platformer and the template for many similar games to come. This was pretty much my first 3D game, let alone 3D platformer, and was a game that I always rented with the Nintendo 64, usually with another game, whether it was Shadows of the Empire, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, or even Yoshi's Story. More on that in the future Nintendo 64 retrospective. I could say for certain that it paved the path for many other game series, including the Banjo-Kazooie series, the Spyro series, Donkey Kong 64, and many others. I believe it also inspired the open world genre and its mission-based objectives, and heck, even GoldenEye 007 was inspired the same way. This was a major reinvention for Nintendo that is still felt to this day with every innovative new game in the Super Mario series, whether it be a 3D game or a mission-based game. It did not have a lot of the usual elements of the previous 2D games, like the classic mushroom and fire flower or star power-ups in favor of the new capabilities. It was a brand new thing for me who grew up on the classic 2D games, largely side-scrolling from left to right on the screen with the classic 8-bit or 16-bit sounds to give Mario his personality. Now we have Mario talking in mock Italian from Charles Martinet, a third dimension which took me some time to get used to and to build some depth perception out of. I really enjoyed this game so much that I believe Miyamoto when he said the main goal for the development team was to make this game fun overall with multiple ways to accomplish Power Star goals. I also love the fact that all the courses have depth to them, including places to go inside and explore further, like the sunken ship, the volcano, the igloo, the insides of Tall Mountain, and the giant island, make the gameplay truly rewarding for players who take the time to explore and figure out ways to achieve objectives. The sandbox 3D gameplay was truly unique, allowing the player to go wherever they wanted and see if there were any secrets in the game. Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Odyssey continued this style of gameplay, with Odyssey almost perfecting it. Still my all-time favorite Switch game. The game does not tell you what to do. Once you obtain enough stars, you can continue to the next objective or go to the same course. More freedom than even Super Mario World on where you can go next and what objective to play. Heck, you could complete mission objectives out of order if you explore enough. So the game at this point was unparalleled in the freedom it gives the player to make up their minds with what they want to do next and how to accomplish what the game tasks them. Truly the reason why I rented this game every time I rented the Nintendo 64 itself. Like myself, who loved the game, Super Mario 64 was acclaimed by gamers and journalists alike, praising the innovation including the 3D gameplay, the freely controllable camera, the mission-based objectives, the environments, and the freedom to play wherever you want. The game was the first Mario launch title that did not come packed with the Nintendo 64, unlike the NES with Super Mario Bros. And the Super NES with Super Mario World. But despite this, it is the best-selling Nintendo 64 game, and for some people, the definitive game of that system, and I wouldn't blame them for that assessment. Due to the game's success and only using 60% of the Nintendo 64's capacity, Nintendo was interested in developing a sequel to Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64 DD, a Japan-only disk drive peripheral that attaches to the Nintendo 64, reminiscent of the Sega Genesis with the Sega CD and 32X, or the Super Famicom with the Saddle View. The game would have included Luigi and a rideable Yoshi. The game was cancelled after the peripheral failed commercially. Another game, Super Mario 128, was shown as a tech demo at Space World 2000, but was cancelled with its ideas being implemented into other games like Pikmin for Rapid Generation and Super Mario Galaxy for sphere walking. I always thought Luigi was on top of the tower, according to a rumor, so I used to try countless times to blast to the top of the tower to no avail. What did I know? I later learned that there was a message in the castle courtyard where the ghosts are that says L is the real 2401, creating an urban legend of whether Luigi is in the game or not. Well, he ends up playable in many ROM hacks of this game, and its official remake. The game was remade for the handheld Nintendo DS as a launch title, simply known as Super Mario 64 DS. The game was mostly the same, but with plenty of profound differences. For starters, you start the game as Yoshi instead of Mario. Yes, this game allows you to play as Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and even Wario. Yoshi's on top of the castle at the beginning because he was there at the end of 64 after you completed all 120 stars, and you access the outside cannon blasting to the top of the castle to get the 100 extra life reward. A lot is added, including the player needing to find keys to open up the castle itself, and rescuing Mario, Luigi, and Wario, kind of like Donkey Kong 64 with the imprisoned Kongs. There are 150 stars in this game, with some changes to the existing missions from the original game. This is a must-play if you love Super Mario 64, with updated graphics, sound, music, and additional content, with the only drawback was the use of the D-pad instead of the joystick to control the characters. Super Mario 64 was truly a game that reinvented video gaming with the introduction of the 3D platformer, and up there in influence with the original Super Mario Bros. I grew up with the original 2D games that contributed to defining my childhood, but Super Mario 64 shaped my adolescence as it came out when I was in 6th grade and just right before I turned 12 that November. Its mark on the Mario series is still felt to this day, with the latest game, Super Mario Odyssey, taking the Super Mario 64 concept and optimizing it to its fullest, with large, beautiful open worlds that house many objectives and its own secrets, expanding on the depth that truly started in 64. The freedom and openness of the game made it accessible to many different types of players and allowed an individual approach to completing the game, making it vastly replayable and a staple of nostalgia, creating very fond memories. I still think Super Mario World is the pinnacle of the Super Mario games, but I know many people younger than myself who grew up with the 3D games say that Mario 64 is their favorite, and I couldn't blame them for feeling that way. The game took risks and paid off and helped further cement my love of the Super Mario series to this very day. I honestly think that since Super Mario 64 influenced the design of open world games, that the next game in the series will be a full open world game like Grand Theft Auto, Elder Scrolls, and more importantly, Breath of the Wild, due to the latter's immense success. If you haven't played this game, definitely give it a go since it is available on the Switch through the 3D All-Stars release and also the add-on to Switch Online. You owe it to yourself to experience this game that has had a major impact on all 3D video games. When you play any 3D game from the past 2 decades, you can thank Super Mario 64 for the freedom and the mission-driven gameplay, and if anyone tells you otherwise, they are lying. This game has withstood the test of time.
Thank you so much for playing my game.
On the next video, this is it. This is the retrospective I've been waiting for since I began this YouTube gig. Probably my favorite video game of all time. In the mythical land of Hyrule, can a giant talking tree convince a young green hooded boy to save the world? Who is this sinister man from the desert, and why is he causing trouble? Is time a major factor in this game? Will the sages mentioned in A Link to the Past be in this game? Will this young boy get an audience with a young princess? Can Link survive in his inaugural 3D adventure? All this and more on the next Nerdporeal Retrospective, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Will Navi or the annoying owl interrupt this upcoming retrospective? Stay tuned to find out.